Hi everyone, today we'll be taking a look at the current state of the 2020 race in terms of the recent polling data that we have been getting. As of right now, there is quite a lot of changes in this 2020 race. First storyline of this, week. Joe Biden has had a bad week. His polling numbers 26, 23, 32, 23, so mostly in those low 20s, which is not good at all for Joe Biden. His average right now 26%, but you can see that in the past week or so, he has gone from a high of about 20, almost 30%, all the way down to 26%. Not great news for the Biden campaign, but we've seen this with the Biden campaign. He sort of goes up and down, up and down, up, down, up, down, up, down. He seems to have quite soft support. But as you can see right now, he's at 26.0%. When we were talking about this massive valley in Biden campaign, he was at 26.0%. And then this media narrative that he's been decreasing, sort of not really true, to be honest. I mean, he's just sort of been going up and down since that massive fall. So this was the beginning of his campaign, and then he just started falling, boom, and he just falls. And then he's kind of just been cratering up and down, up and down. And so it's been interesting to see that with the Biden campaign. He seems to have quite. I would say that this is because he has quite soft support. Some people, not quite like Joe Biden. He does this, not really, And that same sort of group of voters is just switching between him and other candidates all the time. Every sort of few weeks, they sort of change their mind, which is pretty funny. But Biden right now at 26.0%. Next storyline we need to take a look at. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren, how she is falling. The last time she was at 20.8%, the last time she was this low was all the way back in late September, which is pretty interesting. So it's gonna be interesting to see if she keeps going down, because look at what she's done. Ever since she took a lead over Joe Biden, she's been falling, and now she's at 20.8%. So I'm going to be very interested to see whether she keeps falling, whether even maybe Bernie Sanders would pass her again. It's going to be interesting to see that. So, next we'll be taking a look at none other than Bernie Sanders himself. He was actually running at about this point in the 2020 campaign at about 17%. He did go up by quite a bit before Biden announced, and then he went all the way down to 14.6%, and that was really the lowest point of his campaign, at 14.6%. He's normally hovering between 15 and 17% in recent months. And this was the heart attack. I believe this was the heart attack. And ever since then, I believe that was the heart attack, 14.3. That's sort of the lowest point of his campaign, October 7th. But since then, in the past month, or a bit over a month now, he has climbed while Elizabeth Warren has cratered. He's climbed up to 17.8. He's within striking distance of Elizabeth Warren. It's sort of beginning to come. Sanders actually within 10 points of Biden. Sanders is definitely closing the gap. If Biden continues on this fall, if Warren continues on this fall, Sanders could be positioned in some kind of three-way tie at the top. So it's going to be interesting to see that. So Bernie Sanders definitely, this narrative that he's back, I would say that is correct. 17.8 from 14.3 to 17.8. That is actually quite an impressive thing in just 1 month, and it's actually 3.5% in that month. So he's actually climbing a bit about 0.7% each week, which is quite impressive on average. And in this particular period, he had quite a bit of a surge. So it's going to be interesting to see whether he can maintain that and whether we'll get some kind of three-way tie at the top in in the national polls. Okay, Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg has seen kind of a resurgence. So as we all know, he started off his campaign. He wasn't registering 0.3, he wasn't doing all that well. But then he started to get some positive press. He passed Booker, then he passed Warren, then he passed Harris. And it was about here where he, in that sort of mid-April, he started really getting quite a bit of positive press attention. And then he had a high of 8.3, right? And then he sort of dropped down a little bit. He came back up for a bit, but then he sort of dropped down into a valley over the summer. But then we've really seen a resurgence since the mid-October of Pete Buttigieg. We've really seen him come out from sort of duking it out with Kamala Harris to be able to be in a sort of in his tier, right? And now he's at 8.0%, which is actually quite impressive. So it's going to be interesting to see whether he maintains this, whether he's the next Elizabeth Warren, because Elizabeth Warren sort of started to surge about here, whether he is the next Elizabeth Warren, or whether this is just a blip in the polling and he'll just go back down after a few weeks. Next candidate, Kamala Harris. Now, Kamala Harris, very interesting character. She announced in January, right, and she shot up after a very successful open to 12.3%, but then she sort of started to, sort of slumber. She was passed by Warren and she was passed by Buttigieg. And then after that debate, she shot up again to second place, passing Warren, Sanders, Buttigieg. And then ever since then, she has just been on this sort of slumber down. It is interesting, in the last week or so, in the last week and a half, she sort of has gone up a bit. I don't think that that's going to hold. I just think that's a little blip in the polling. But it is going to be interesting. Kamala Harris, I do think that she is looking for a door on this race. In the last few debates, she has not gone on the attack. Maybe she's angling for, let's close that. Maybe she's angling for Biden VP money. She sort of went after him a bit too hard in that first debate for Biden to be comfortable with. Maybe she's going for some kind of Warren VP, if Warren wants to bring a bit more centrist into the campaign. Maybe she's angling for some position in the administrations. She's definitely not wanting to be in this race for a long time. She's trying to make friends with the other candidates and then say goodbye. So, gonna be interesting to see how that does. Now, all of the rest of the candidates, Andrew Yang, Amy Klobuchar, Cory Booker, Julian Castro, Tulsi Gabbard, Tom Steyer, Steve Bullock, John Delaney, Marianne Williamson. Gosh, I'm gonna fall asleep reading out that list of names. The following people should not be in this race: Cory Booker, Julian Castro, Tulsi Gabbard, Tom Steyer, Steve Bullock, John Delaney, Marianne Williamson, Michael Bennet, and Wayne Mason. They should all not be in this 2020 race. They are just a waste of time. They should exit right now. Andrew Yang and Amy Klobuchar, they have sort of... If you look at Amy Klobuchar, she's the... It's hard to see in this mess of lines, but she's sort of the black line. She was at 1.6. She's sort of had this surge, this November-October surge, 2.3%. She's not going to be the nominee. She should also probably stay in the race for a little bit longer and just have a 7-person race. But again, Klobuchar and Yang really are the next to go, followed by Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg. So then we can have a top 3 without any of the other people on the side, a top three, that they will be able to go after each other properly in the debates without interruptions from other candidates who don't have a chance to win. So that's it for today's video, guys. Looking at the polling today, big storylines: Biden is falling, Warren falling, Sanders surging. Will there be a top three sort of tie in the weeks and months to come? Well, we'll find out very soon. After today, we'll be taking a look at some of the early state polls that we've been getting. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching and good night.